Welcome back, everyone. I'm James the Tie Guy, and today we have another new Black Series figure to take a look at. This is continuing in the recent release of Imperial officers that we've seen. I showed you General Veers last week, and today we have another popular Imperial officer. This is Admiral Piett, known for some of the movie as Captain Piett before his battlefield promotion that gave him command of the Executor Superstar Destroyer. This figure is an exclusive to online retailers, so that it's not including like Amazon or Target or anything like that. This is online toy retailers that deal with Star Wars toys, so we're talking like Big Bad Toy Store, Dorkside Toys, In Demand Toys in the UK, Toy Buzz, Toy Wiz, all those various online toy stores are going to be sharing this exclusive. It was supposed to be released by now already. I had a pre-order in for it, and it hasn't had any movement on it since I placed it several months ago. The last I've heard is we're looking at sometime in July, possibly even the beginning of August. It's really hard to say for sure because you hear a lot of things floating around. As far as what people have heard for release dates, it's basically one of those things. You'll get it when you get it. It's just hard to pinpoint exactly when that will be. Price-wise, it depends on who you buy it from. Mine was, I think, $22.99 when I pre-ordered it from one of the retailers, and then other ones vary depending on if they charge shipping or not. This one is imported from Asia, where the retailers there or the distributors have already gotten their stock of him. So it did, of course, cost extra to get him this early. You can't expect to pay retail if you want them right now, but I did want to go ahead and get it in so that I could go ahead and do my picture gallery and review of it so that you know what you're getting if you pre-ordered it. And if you were still on the fence about it, this might help you make up your mind. Because the photos that got released of him and that were on the retailer's websites, they weren't very flattering for the figure. I was worried that it wasn't going to bear much of a resemblance to Ken Colley, the actor that played Piett in the movies. I know after I got Veers, I was thinking that it probably wasn't going to be as good as his likeness, but I'm actually very impressed, and I'll show that to you once we get him open. The packaging is just like Veers was. It's a standard Black Series packaging for exclusive, so that's going to be black and red color theme with no number given to it since it's an exclusive. It's just got Admiral Piett there, and then on the back we have the story of him that's taken from the Star Wars databank. Basically what we already know, he was a captain, and then he got a battlefield promotion after Admiral Ozzel brought the Imperial fleet out of hyperspace too early and alerted the rebels to their presence when they were on Hoth. On the side is just his name and then the writing there, and then back to the front where we have this standard picture of the character. So we'll go ahead and open him up here. I had him open the other day for pictures, so it should just take a moment. He doesn't come with as many accessories as Veers did. He comes with his officer cap, and then the DL-21 blaster like Veers had. He doesn't have a holster, but in the movie he didn't carry a firearm. Typically officers would only have one if they were in a battlefield situation or being boarded or something like that. So here we have the accessory wise, it's the same DL-21 blaster that Veers had, nothing too special about it. No holster again, so it's only able to be wielded or carried if he's actually holding it. Set it off there, and then we'll keep the focus close so that we can see his officer cap. Standard cap just like Veers had. It's got the officer button there to signify their identity. The interior is just like Veers' helmet and hat. It's molded to the hair sculpt of the figure, so it's a really good fit for them. And it doesn't fit on other officers like Tarkin or Thrawn, of course, due to their hair sculpt being different. Bigger, that is to say. And then finally we have Piett himself. So if we can get it to focus good on him there. Ken Colley has, the actor that portrayed him had a little bit of a pop-eyed appearance, I guess you could call it, slightly. This figure portrays that. It's a little harder to show on camera than it is to see in person. We've got the standard sculpt that is shared with most of the other officers that stays the same up to right about here. Of course, Grand Moff Tarkin doesn't have black gloves, it's just regular skin tones. But the changes, of course, come from the head and then the insignia. This is the Admiral insignia that he's wearing, and then the 3 code cylinders, which would be what an Admiral if his rank would carry. So this is the figure that you would see after his battlefield promotion. I see the typical Imperial dress with the flared trousers, and then the belt, which is built into the figure, not removable. Now, the real look for him comes when he has his officer cap on, because in the movie, we don't ever see him without it. So, let's go ahead and put that on him. That is where the figure really starts to look the best, in my opinion. So there we have him with his officer cap on, and that is where he starts to bear more of the resemblance to his actual character in the movie. Now, video doesn't portray it quite as well as seeing it in person, of course, or the pictures. If you look at the picture gallery, which I'll link below on my Facebook page and Flickr account, there are 33 pictures, I believe, and they convey even better the look for him. I think he actually bears a really good resemblance. I'm wanting to use one of these figures in the autographed shadow box that I have for Captain / Admiral Piett. I think it's going to look really good, and the similarities will really be evident when he's there next to the picture of him actually taken from the movie. So if we set him here, we can get his gun. He's got his trigger hand here, and then this hand, which could hold a gun, but it's not really meant for it like the right one is, because he has that specific trigger finger. So the best way I think that these Imperial officers are displayed is with their arm, one of them tucked behind their back, and then something sort of like this. We can get his trigger finger to go over there. These guns, I'm not too fond of them. The way they're shaped doesn't make them exactly easy to get posed in a realistic looking way, like some of the other guns that come with these Black Series figures. Just not a very big fan of the overall design of the gun. I know Dengar carries a modified one, which is fine for bounty hunter, but I'm just not too fond of these with the Imperial officers. I'd rather them have something like the Imperial guns in Battlefront, the GLIE, I think it's called, something of that effect. I think that would look better. But anyways, this is somewhat of how I would display the figure. Of course, I would probably display Piett without a gun, because we never actually see him in battle, other than on the bridge of the Executor, and of course he's not armed at that point that we can see. So that is him with his weapon. And then if you want to display him without it, which I think is more appropriate, then you could just have his hand down here slightly. And I try to turn the hand to where it's not so evident that it's a trigger finger. And then leave one hand tucked behind his back. I think that's a pretty good look. So if we set him down here, I've had pretty good success with him just standing up on his own. We'll see if we can get the camera to focus down there for us. Moving back a little. And then we'll take a little bit of a zoom on him. See if we can't tilt it down. There we go. So there he is. Now if we bring in some comparisons, we've got Admiral Thrawn first of all. So Admiral Thrawn is a little bit taller, which would be appropriate, I believe. Of course, he is also on a stand, but that doesn't add as much height difference as you see here. And if we bring in another figure, we got General Veers. So this is him without his officer armor on. Oh, I've always had some trouble with General Veers getting him to stand the feet on this particular figure. I don't know if it's just mine, but they never want to go completely flat on the bottom for some reason. So he always has this crooked stance, and it's been a pain trying to get this figure to stay posed on his own. I kind of have to mess with his upper half of his body to balance out the unevenness of his feet. So I'm probably just going to have to hold him. But as you can see here, these guys pretty much the exact same height. There again, going back to it being the same sculpt, except for the head and rank insignia. As you can see, the pants on the officers are a little bit different compared to Thrawn, and of course Thrawn has that holster built in, which I wish. I'm not so concerned about Admiral Piett or General Veers having one, since he has his armor that has a holster, but it would have been nice to see Piett with one. Even if it wasn't built in, it could have just been like a belt accessory you could add, so at least he could have the weapon on him even if he wasn't holding it. Makes it easier to keep up with, especially if you're an opener. Now, if you want, just for fun, we can see what Admiral Piett would look like were he to survive the Battle of Endor, not die on the bridge of the Executor, and possibly be in the field. Of course, you've got insignia on here. The rank insignia is for general, so that's not correct, but this is just for fun. Let's put him in General Veers officer armor. It's actually the first time I've done this. I didn't even think about doing it until I was getting this video set up, but I thought, why not, while we've got all these guys here. I always liked Admiral Piett because he was a cool officer. He had a lot of responsibility thrown on him all at once. He wasn't expecting it, and I wish he was actually very popular in the original movie, so much so that he was only supposed to be in one, and then they asked him, George Lucas asked him if he would want to play in the second one. So trying to put his armor on here, the chest armor fits, but the head is running into the same problem that we ran into when trying to put this armor on Thrawn. It would fit, I believe, were it not for the chin strap. So if we lighten this up a little, change the focus, as you can see, the officer armor fits. The chest piece anyways, but the hat, or the helmet rather, doesn't want to go on there. It won't go down quite far enough over his head, and then you've got this in the way. I think you can make it work in a pinch if you tried hard without, and if it didn't have this, but it doesn't want to go on him with the chin strap. And I think the reason for that being is the head sculpt of these two. If you notice, Admiral Veers, the head is a little bit thicker, the hair is also, and then you got General Veers, who is slightly more slender. So you can see it there pretty well. So I think you can make it work if you cut the strap and then hollow it out the inside a little bit, but it's the chest armor works okay, but the helmet would require some modification. So we'll go ahead and take the armor back off Admiral Piett here. So as far as my final thoughts on the figure, I like him a lot. He's a great addition to the current lineup of Black Series officers, Imperial Black Series officers that we're seeing. Make sure we get the right helmet back on him here. or the right officer cap. It's almost, you can actually tell whose is who because even though they look the same on the outside, the inside is molded differently to the head sculpt. So this one fits on him a lot better than the one for Veers. I like him, you know, a lot. As you can see, the pictures of him are quite a bit better than what the promotional pictures that were first released that made it look a little iffy. That could have just been because those were prototype images. They might have enhanced the head sculpt since then and the digital face printing, which this is something that I'll continue to say that it's really helped improve the Black Series line. It's really done wonders for it this year, and I really wish they would go back and do some of the other figures that could benefit from it, like Director Krennic. I would love to see a redo of him to display with all these guys. Thrawn didn't receive it, but because he's an alien species to begin with, he doesn't matter as much on him, just like the helmeted figures, the armored figures, it doesn't. But I would really love to see them going back and redo some of the other figures and give them that treatment so we could display all of them. But if you look in the pictures, I've got all 4 of these. We got Veers, Veers, Piett, Thrawn, and Grand Moff Tarkin all together, and they really do look awesome. And I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed with this guy. For anyone that's got a pre-order out, just you know, encourage you to have a little bit more patience. Hopefully they'll get these guys out soon, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed when you do get them because he does look excellent, especially alongside Veers and some of the other officers. If you have any questions, make sure and let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to respond to those, or on the channel's Facebook page. I've got next coming up is the Imperial AT-DT Walker. This is a Force Link 2.0 enabled toy by Hasbro. It's coming out probably in August. I just got that in today, so I'll be doing pictures of it tomorrow, and then the video of it should come on Wednesday. So make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. If you like this video, a thumbs up would be great. And I appreciate everybody's support so far. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and may the Force be with you.